Mark?
What we do always at the beginning of every podcast is we let our guests kind of give a little bit of a background who they are.
Okay.
I'm always a big fan of this when I listen to podcasts because I can't stand listening to somebody unless I know what's their background so that I can have kind of an idea what perspective they're coming from. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up with Disciplined Agile?
Yeah. I'm the founder of Process Mentors, and I've been working with Disciplined Agile since it came out in 2012. It was originally a product of IBM. But at that point, Disciplined Agile, the sort of the backbone of it was something called the Rational Unified Process. And I started working with that in the late 90s, right? So there's still a lot of unified process content.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guests who will be watching this who are familiar with with the Rapid Unified Process, especially from SAP and companies like that.
Wonderful approach, great set of tools. That's where I first actually started working with Mark and Scott. So we've worked together for, greater than 2 decades. So quite a bit of time. And I'd say that from a experience perspective, I might be or one of definitely a few people that have had a continuous consulting engagement every year on Disciplined Agile since it came out in 2012. So my current engagement and how I'm not only working with organizations to use DA to deliver value better, but I do a fair amount of work from a consulting perspective with PMI. When DA was acquired in 2019 by the Project Management Institute, Mark and Scott's company and my company, we were partnered, and I was actually leading a very large-scale adoption of Disciplined Agile at a company called Diageo. So Diageo at the time was the biggest alcohol producer in the world. Big company.
Scott I'm familiar. I used to work in hotel business, so I'm familiar with Diageo.
Yeah.
One of the biggest vendors of wines in the United States. They do all the European wines.
Yeah. So large company. Scott had got a adoption of DA going, and I took it over for him. So when PMI acquired their company, that consulting engagement had continued. So I've had a very interesting and a long-standing business relationship with PMI from a DA perspective. And then over the years, especially after Mark and Scott left, they've engaged me to help sort of continue the good work that they had done and sort of build the next generation of DA, which brings us up to the current point in time.
I want to give a shout out to Mark and Scott as well, because this is what I really loved about our conversation when I addressed the subject. We had this conversation before we started the podcast. I said, the quality of initiatives at PMI is like in all organizations, kind of contingent on the human aspect, who's driving it, who's behind it, who's got passion. And I think a lot of the people who have fallen in love with Disciplined Agile were kind of concerned when Scott and Mark left. And I addressed this with them, and they said, "Don't worry, it's in great hands." And you were the first person they mentioned, so they had good things to say about you, and that's why I reached out to you. And I want to say thank you to you for responding so quickly.